Hello, it's good to see you. Today we're going to be looking at some old pictures of, some of them are me and some of them are my family, my mom and dad, and my brother through the years. I went to see my mom today and we were looking through some, she has this huge box of old pictures, and we're making plans for me to go back down there another day so we can go through them and put them in some albums and kind of organize them, because they're very disorganized. But I brought some back to share with you. I thought you might like to see some old pictures from my past. I might save some. I've had several people ask me to redo my Draw My Life video, and I do plan to do that at some point. But right now, and you may see some of these again in that because I can't draw, and I'll probably spend a lot of it showing you pictures. But anyway, we're going to start with a few pictures of my mom and dad when they were younger. Now, some of the pictures are big and some are small. This is my mom. Let's see. There's no date on here. This pose, I think, was really popular back in the 50s. And I call it the attitude pose. They had them kind of tilt their head to the side and they're looking off sideways, kind of. It's kind of like you just heard somebody say something just completely unbelievable, and this is how you would look at it. But they would make them pose like this and not smile. I'm thinking my mom was actually kind of young in this picture. She was still in high school, I'm sure, so that would have been back in the 50s. Like the high top little blouse with the little thing on it. My grandmother probably made that. But that's my mom when she was very young, a teenager. Now this one I know was taken in 1957. This was her high school senior picture. Focus. There we go. This is my mom when she was 18 and she was getting ready to graduate from high school. I love the really short bangs. That was actually popular back then, to wear them cut really short like that. But yeah, she's smiling a little bit there. This one is not of my parents, either one. This one actually is out of order. This is the tree in front of the house where I grew up. And you can't see the whole tree. This is one of the biggest pine trees I've ever seen. It was really, really old. That's my dog Bear. You can't really see him though. A lot of the pets that we had were animals that were abandoned at our house. We lived in a very remote area. At the time this picture was taken, there were no other houses on this road except for ours. And people were really bad to dump puppies and kittens and grown dogs and cats at our house because they didn't want to take them to the pound. Unfortunately, a lot of them we had to call the pound to come get them, but sometimes when we could, we would keep them. This is one of the dogs that someone left with us, and he was a cute little, you can't even really see him. He's a little dog. His name was Bear. But this tree, I used to swing on this tree. The rope is not visible in this picture, but there was a branch up here, a big branch, and my dad tied a rope from it, and the tree was on a slight bank, and you could run from one bank and jump and swing around the tree to the other bank. I spent so many hours doing that as a kid. I had unbelievable calluses on my hands from doing that. But unfortunately, someone else owns this property now, and they cut that tree down. I was so mad when I heard that. It was a huge tree, and they cut it because they said it was in the way. I'm looking at it going, no, you build around a tree that big. You don't cut it. So they wanted to build a house here, so they cut it and leveled the property. I was really mad. Now this is a page out of a photo album. These are my grandparents, my dad's mother and father. Really, out of everyone in my family, I think I favor my dad's mom more than, I don't really look like anybody on my mom's side of the family. I might look a little bit like my grandfather. I never really got to know them. They both passed away when I was very young. I was about 2 years old, I think, when they passed away, both of them. They died within just a couple of months of each other, and I don't remember them. But this picture was actually taken back in, I think, around the mid-30s, around the time they got married. My grandfather was married before and had a little girl, and his first wife and baby infant daughter were killed in a house fire. They died in a fire while he was at work one day, and he remarried my grandmother sometime after that, and they had 6 kids together. And this is my dad when he was in Vietnam. So that would have been back in the late 60s, maybe around 68. I think he was in Vietnam in this picture. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. But he was a CB in the Navy, and I know that's what he wore. Now I do know from looking at the back of this picture, it was taken in 1961. And this is my mom. This is one of those pictures that they would take that they colorize it. They add color to it. Like they'll put, they kind of color the lips a little bit and the hair. But that would have been my mom in 1961. I like her white blouse, the little embroidery on it. And her hair is still kind of short. She's never had really long hair. That's about as long as her hair ever really got. And this one was taken of my dad at the same time. Look at the hair. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's crazy. As I look at it, I just cannot imagine that this was my dad. But this was my dad in 1961. Long before I was born. But yeah, he's got the hairstyle's just killing me. But he doesn't really like to smile for pictures. He does it more now, but back when he was younger, it was probably the best they could get him to do. But now this is one of my favorite pictures of my dad, and he actually is smiling here. This is my dad in Quezon, and I think this was in 1968. I don't know who took this picture, but he's got on his CB's little pin on his hat there, and he's actually smiling, which is it's very rare for an old picture of him. He normally doesn't smile like that. But I think I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to put it in a frame, or at least get a copy made of it. And this is my dad again. He's so skinny. Oh my gosh. This is one of his dress uniforms. I'm not sure why he's wearing this in this picture. I don't really know what was going on there that day. But I think this was also when he was over there. I know when he was over there, he lost a lot of weight. My mom said when he came back, he was just emaciated. He was so incredibly skinny. The food was not great, and they worked themselves half to death over there. But so he's very pale and skinny in that picture. He doesn't look good. But it was a hard time for them. So I mean, it's understandable that he doesn't look like the picture of health in this photo. Okay, now I have some pictures of me. I've tried to organize these from oldest to most recent. Here I am. I was 18 months old in this picture. And I know that because my mom told me I was. This picture was taken at a place. They took several photos and a couple of changes of clothes. This is one of them. I don't know what I'm laughing at. I was probably looking at something over there, and they were probably just trying to get me to smile. They had these pictures taken, and my great aunt was with my mom when she took me to get these pictures. We went to pick up the pictures. And they were too expensive, and my mom couldn't afford the pictures, and she was going to have to tell them that she could only buy one or two. And my great aunt said there is no way you are going to walk off and leave these pictures. And my great aunt actually paid for them for my mom, which I thought was really sweet. She said, "You don't get these years back, and I will make sure you have these pictures. I don't care what they cost. I'm going to buy them." So this was one of the ones that she bought. Look at my hair. Yep. And I had to throw one in here of my brother. This is my brother. He probably wouldn't like me showing this, but he's so cute. I just thought he looked so cute in this picture. I don't know how old he is here. I'm thinking he was probably in elementary school, but I don't really know what grade he was in. Maybe 4th grade. I don't know. There's nothing on the back of it, but I just thought that was a cool picture. So I won't embarrass him anymore. Now this picture was cute, but it's yellow as all get out. And this is the way it came. Look how yellow or orange it is. My mom was mad because the color is so off in this picture. And they made all the girls hold a little basket of fake daisies. And you see I'm missing a tooth right there. But my mom cut my hair, and you can see it's kind of jagged, but I guess she did the best she could do. I don't know what grade I'm in here. Most of these don't have anything written on the back, so that's something I'm hoping that my mom can help me with, because I don't really know what grade that was. But I do remember them telling me I had to hold this because I didn't want to. I said, can't I just stand here without the flowers? They said, no, hold it. Just shut up and hold it. And then all the prints came back this yellow color, and my mom was really mad. Now this one was taken later. I'm thinking this might have been around the 5th grade or so, because my hair is definitely longer here. But I really couldn't tell you what grade that is. I think everybody back in the 80s and 70s had to take a picture with this fence post right here and the fake leaves in the background. It was obligatory. If you grew up back then, it's like a rite of passage. You have to take a picture in front of that kind of background at least once. I do like this blue turtleneck I have on here. But even this picture is kind of yellow. But I remember that turtleneck. It was made of velvet, and it was really, really soft and very warm. Oh, this one's out of order. I just realized. That really yellow picture, this is when I graduated from kindergarten. Look how happy I am. I was so glad to be graduating, and they let us hold our little kindergarten diploma. And I have that same jagged haircut, so that yellow picture I guess would have been taken around the same time. But don't look at my fingernails too close because they're really dirty. I was always out digging in the mud and playing outside, and my fingernails were just constantly nasty and dirty. I have on my cute little white cap and gown. And this is a dress. You can't really see it, but my mom made that dress for me. It was a green and white dress. I have a picture of me somewhere wearing this dress, and I look thoroughly disgusted because I didn't really like having to wear a dress. But for special occasions like the graduation, they expect you to dress up a little bit. And here is one. Now this is a picture my mom took. This was when I turned 5. I remember this Winnie the Pooh cake. My mom made this cake, and she worked so hard on it. And I'm leaning over, I guess, to blow out the candle right there. And I remember watching her doing the icing on this cake. It was the little, like you take the little star tip on the icing bag, and you do just one little tiny dot at a time, and it took her forever to cover the entire cake. And it sounds weird, but I still remember what that icing tasted like. 40 years later, I still remember that. And I don't know, there was something about it. It was very distinct. It was very good. My mom made it. And she made the cake and everything. But yeah, I still have that same jagged haircut. Now here is a nice picture of my brother and me and my mom. And this was actually taken at Olin Mills. I don't remember having this made. I have no memory of this whatsoever. I don't know. I guess I was about 5 here. I don't know what's going on with my hand. I have no idea what kind of little gang sign I'm trying to throw there. I have no idea. But my mom made that dress. It's a little red dress. And this locket, I have a little necklace on with a little heart-shaped locket. I got that, I think, when I was 5 or 6 for my birthday. But yeah, I don't know where my dad was. I have no idea why he's not in this picture, but I guess my mom said, screw it, we're going to get our picture made. And here my mom has on a turtleneck, and I remember this pin. I don't think she's wearing a necklace, but this little pin is, you can't really see it, but it's a little wishbone pin. I think she still has that pin. I remember that. I don't know where it came from, but I remember her wearing that pin. So at least we all look reasonably happy in this picture. Now this picture, that's me, but I can't even see myself. I'm so little. That's my bicycle there, and I don't remember when I had that bicycle, but apparently it's snowing. And I grew up in a single wide mobile home, and that's it. That's the house I grew up in. I don't really have a picture of it other than this one. I can't find any other picture of it. But yeah, it looks like it snowed a good bit, and I'm outside with my scarf and hat on. I don't know who took this. I guess my mom took it. I don't know, but it's really the only picture I could find in the house I grew up in. But we didn't go through all of the pictures, I'm sure. I mean, she had tons and tons of pictures, and we went through some of them, but I'm going to go back down there one day and try to help her go through them and label them. Oh, here's a date, March 1983. Okay, so I would have been 9 in that picture. Okay. All right, that's cool. I didn't see that before. Okay. Nice. Here's another one of me, and again I'm wearing the same little heart-shaped locket. I really liked it. It was about the only piece of jewelry I had, although it looks like I have on a little bracelet too. Don't know when this was taken either, but my hair changes lengths pretty frequently. I don't even know where this was taken. I'm sitting in some kind of wire chair. Again with the turtlenecks. I mean, that must have been the thing back then to wear when you were having your picture made. I don't know. I don't think this was a school picture. It might have been a school picture. I'm honestly not sure, but yeah, all these pictures are slightly yellow. I mean, my hair looks more brassy than it really was. Let's see. Come on, focus. There we go. Here is my brother outside of our house with our dog Sheba. This was our little dachshund, and she was really old. You can see how gray her muzzle is there. She lived to be 17, and she got run over twice. Her biggest guilty pleasure was chasing cars, and she was run over twice. I mean, we could not keep her from chasing cars, and she stayed outside most of the time. And yeah, she was run over twice, but she survived. I think she basically just got rolled under the car. But yeah, she lived to be 17. And she could kill snakes. She would go out into the woods and kill snakes and bring them to the house. Oh my God, she brought so many snakes to the house. And every now and then she would bring one to the house and it wasn't dead yet, and then she would kill it in the yard. But that's my brother with his little glasses. He got glasses in elementary school. Yep, and way back behind it back there was our well house. We had well water out there. We lived way out in the country, and there was, of course, no city water out there. So we had a well for our water. And for, if you live way out there, they give you fluoride supplements. They had little drops and tablets and stuff for fluoride because there's none in your water. And this was the tree that was right beside our house. It was a sweet gum tree. And you can't see it, but my dad's gun shop was back there. He was a gunsmith when I was a kid, and he had his shop back here behind the house, but you really can't see it in that picture. Oh, here we are again. Now, I know in this picture, see, we're both petting the dog. He's petting Sheba. Now, I know I was 8 in this picture because you might be able to see my arm is in a cast right there. I broke both of my arms the summer I was 8, one at a time. I broke one arm, got it out of the cast, and exactly 1 week later, almost down to the hour, I broke the other arm and dislocated my wrist both times. I broke both of the bones in there and dislocated my wrist in 2 separate accidents, and I did it to both arms that summer. It was a rough summer. Let's see. Okay, so we had these rocks. We had our little rock wall in front of our house, and we had these little steps that had rocks also leading up to the house. You can see the house back here. And back there is my dad's. My dad had a Ford Ranchero truck, that white truck. That's what that is, and he drove it for years. Gosh, he had that truck forever. But yeah, there I am with my cast, and we're petting Sheba. And here I am again smiling. My eyes are closed. I'm like Forrest Gump, but my eyes are closed. Now I'm facing the house, and these are some of the flowers that my mom had planted. And back behind there, you can see the corn that was growing back there. We had a huge garden every year, and my brother and I were in charge of tending the garden. That was one of our chores. And in the wintertime, we had to help cut and stack and move firewood. We had a wood-burning stove for heat. We did a lot of pretty heavy physical labor as kids, and I don't regret it at all. I think it was good for me. I learned the value of, actual work, and it really helps put things in perspective when you're an adult. I don't regret a minute of it. I didn't really enjoy it, but I learned a lot from having to work as a child, because you learn that, you have to help take care of your family and support and, help out, and we did a lot of that. But yeah, I'm holding my cast. I'm standing there. I don't know if this was the first arm I broke or the second. I don't remember which one I broke first. I think I broke my left one first, because I broke it right before we got out of school. And then I broke the other one right before we went back to school. And everybody was confused as to why I still had an arm in a cast, because it had been a while. And they said, "Why are you still wearing a cast?" I said, "Oh, I got that one off. This is my new one." But that's just me standing in front of some flowers, being silly. Oh, another adventure that I got to go on twice as a kid. And a little thing I got to do that was fun was raise squirrels. The area where we lived it was a vastly wooded area, and all the land around us was owned by this big lumber company. And 2 separate years in early spring, they came to clear a section and take the lumber out. Timber is a big industry where I grew up. And my dad knew some of the guys that were doing the clearing. And 2 separate times, they cut a tree that had a squirrel nest in it, and it had babies. Now, they were not this big when we got them. Let me see if I have a picture of the babies. Yeah. I have a bunch of pictures of our squirrels. Now, both times we got 3 babies. And here's a picture of what they look like. The knife is totally unrelated. We're not getting ready to kill the babies. This was the bar in our house, the little bar in the kitchen where my mom would prepare meals. Like there's the salt shaker right there, and for some reason a bottle of Centrum vitamins. I don't know. But she just had them in her hand, so you could take a picture of them. My brother probably took that picture. That's my mom's hands. So you could see how small they were. And the mother was gone. Obviously, they don't stick around. When you cut the tree down, so not much you can do. So they brought the babies to us, and we raised them, and we did this twice. And we raised them to adult. They're big enough to be set free. And here you can see that they get up on the shelves. They would get into everything. Now, we didn't let them run around the house most of the time. My dad built a really big indoor cage for them to stay in. And he went out and cut down a dogwood tree and set it up in there so they'd have something to climb around on. And we made a little fake nest in the tree for them to sleep in. Look at that little guy. He's so cute. He's sitting on top of, I think that's the refrigerator. I still have that wooden elephant. I have that in my living room right now. This picture was taken in 1980. It's in the corner right up there. Look, he's so cute. And here's one in the window looking out. And there you can actually see part of the big pine tree I was telling you about that was in the front yard. He got a long tail. And we would let them out once a day so they could kind of scamper around and run around and play. And they loved to climb the curtains. Here they are on top of our lovely avocado green curtains. They loved to do that. They would get up there. And one time I was walking through there. I'd just gotten out of the shower. And I was walking back to my room. And I had on a towel. And I was going into my room to get dressed, and one of them jumped down off the curtain rod onto my back. And they have little claws. You can't really see them, but they have very sharp little claws. And he dug into my back. It hurt so bad, but I tried to hold still till my mom could remove him. But yeah, they start out this little, and you have to feed them with a bottle. They have to have really basically round the clock care for a while when they're that small, because their eyes aren't open. They're totally dependent on you. So we all pitched in, all 4 of us pitched in to take care of the squirrels, and we did that twice. And we raised 6 babies, and then when they were big enough, we would take them out back and let them go. And it was always kind of sad to see them go, but at the same time, you have to do it. And I always kind of hoped that they would come back and visit like Bob Ross's squirrels did. I always loved it when Bob talked about Peapod, the pocket squirrel. And I know Bob raised one, and it would come back and visit him. And I always hoped that ours would, but none of them ever did. Once we set them free, they took off, and we never saw them. So, but anyway, I was glad that we could do that. Now here is a picture of me at Tweetsie. If you've ever heard of Tweetsie Railroad up in the mountains at Blowing Rock, North Carolina. These aren't real horses. My hair is longer here. I'm not sure how old I was in this picture, but there's a train in the back there. And here's another picture that was taken that same day, because I have on the Joker t-shirt or sweatshirt. That's Fred Kirby, if you remember him. I don't know what we're looking at, but I had another picture of Fred and my brother and me, and I was facing the camera, but I couldn't find it. But sometimes when you went to Tweetsie, he would be there, and my mom was able to get a picture of us with him. Now this picture was taken, now this would have been 1983, so I was about 9 or so, 9 or 10. This was at the what was it, 1982? I'm sorry, 1982 World's Fair when it came to Knoxville, Tennessee. And this is a picture of some sort of thing that was made to look like a bull. And that's me in the hat, standing next to the bull. So yeah, we went to the World's Fair, and I remember my mom and dad being kind of disappointed. They didn't really think it lived up to the hype. I don't remember much about it, honestly. Now, let's see. This picture has no date. This is me at some lake, and I am really unsure where this is. My tackle box, that was my first tackle box, that little blue one back there. And it looks like I had a Barbie and a horse out there. My pants are absolutely dirty. I had short hair. I might have been about 8 in this picture. Somewhere around there. Maybe 7. I'm not really sure. But that's me sitting there. And here's another one. This is something I used to love to do. I would take my toys outside, and I love to play around water. And I would stay out there all day and just make up a whole storyline with my toys, and just have them go on all these little adventures outside. And there's no telling what was going on here, but I had Barbie going on an adventure at the lake, apparently. And here I am. That's me fishing. There's my tackle box. I've been fishing since I was 4. It is my #1 favorite hobby. I'm hoping to get to do more of it this year. I didn't get to go much at all last year. My grandmother taught me to fish when I was 4, and I've been doing it ever since. But I have no memory of this. I don't know where we are. I don't recognize this lake or pond or whatever it is. I'm not really sure. No, that's another one, I guess, of me out. I don't know. I guess my mom took these pictures of me out there. Oh, here I am with the Barbie dream house that my dad made for me. This is the best Christmas present I ever got. And apparently I got a little Garfield, too. That was 1982. Or, no, it couldn't have been 1980. No, it's okay. December 1982. It looked like it said September. That was the best Christmas present I ever got. I wanted one of the Barbie dream houses, but my parents couldn't afford it. So my dad made a Barbie dream house for me, a 3-story townhouse. It even has linoleum on the floors and the elevator. He put a lot of work into that. And attached, it doesn't look like it's attached, but it actually is on the back, is a stable for my horses. He even made a little stable for the horses. He put a lot of work into that. And I opened all my presents that morning, and it was good. My dad said, "You don't like your presents?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And then he said, "Well, why don't you go outside and feed the dogs? Yeah, they're probably hungry." So I opened the front door to take them some food, and he had this sitting right in front of the door, and I've never been more excited to see anything. I was squealing and jumping up and down. I couldn't believe that he made that. I was so excited. Best Christmas present I ever got in my life. Before then or since then, honestly, best present ever. And yeah, so that's me, and I don't know if it was taken on Christmas Day or not, but I was really happy with it. There's a divide between the stable and the townhouse because my door I had a sliding door. I had a very, very small room, and it had a sliding door. And this gap was there so that the sliding door could fit in there and still close. And that way I could have it in my room, but still have this part also. But to play with it, I had to have my door open. But that, he thought ahead and made it that way so it would fit in my room. Here's a picture of me at Christmas time blowing bubbles. We didn't get a lot for Christmas. Most years they just didn't really have a lot of money for anything. And we never bought a tree. I always had to go out in the woods and find a tree. And usually I would go out with a machete and I would actually cut it down and bring it in and set it up and decorate it. Nobody else in my family really cared about Christmas very much. And if I hadn't done that, we probably wouldn't have had a tree at all. This was March of 1980. Yeah, so I'd have been 7. Well, no, March. These were probably developed. This was probably 79. And then they developed them in March, apparently, like 3 months later. But yeah, this is a cedar tree that I cut down. Although when I was 7, I don't think I was allowed to use the machete yet. But I would at least go out and find it and then have my dad come out with me and cut it. But by the time I was probably 9 or 10, I was cutting them myself. I can wield a machete pretty well. I've been doing it for a long time. But yeah, apparently I got a bottle of bubbles for Christmas, but it's so washed out. But the flash must have been really bright, but I'm blowing bubbles. And this picture was, let's see, December 19, and it doesn't show what year, so I'm not really sure what year it was, but this is my brother and me. This, I believe, was a different Christmas, but there in the background again is another tree that I would have picked out, and either my dad cut it or I did, just depending on how old I was. And this picture is kind of cool. This one, my brother has his glasses, and he got a Merlin for Christmas that year, if you remember Merlin. I still have one. I got one on eBay several years ago. It works. And I had one of these little, I got one of those little, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a pyramid-shaped Rubik's Cube, basically. I never did figure out how to do that thing. But that's us sitting there in the, I don't know where we are. There's a recliner we had for a while. I guess we were just in the living room. And oh, that's the antique sideboard that used to belong to my great aunt. And then when she passed away, my parents were able to obtain it, although they had to buy it. It was terrible. She didn't have a will, and she had a very devious relative who, as soon as she passed away, swooped in and basically took everything out of her house. And anything my parents wanted, they had to purchase. I think they ended up paying like $500 for that thing. It was crazy. He wouldn't let anyone have anything. They had to pay him for it. It was a real nasty scene in our family for a little while. Now, I know if you grew up in the 70s or 80s, you have a picture like this somewhere. The silhouette, you have the one picture where you're smiling and I'm missing at least one tooth. And there's the heart-shaped locket again. And then they have the silhouette picture where you're looking off somewhere all serious. Yeah, everybody, they don't do that anymore. Which is kind of sad because it's actually it's sort of cool and creepy at the same time. But again, look how yellow it is. And that's the way it was when we got it. They didn't worry about color correction or anything, but it's very yellow. And here are just a couple of pictures of my brother and me with a snowman that we made. At some point, we used to have oil heat for our house, and there's the oil barrel, but I don't remember when. At some point, we stopped using that, and we switched to just wood heat. But I'm standing there. This blanket that I'm wrapped up in was my ABC blanket. That's what I called it. And I'd had it since I was a baby. I still have this blanket. And it has the alphabet on it. And it was like my security blanket. I used to love that blanket. But my brother is holding this giant snowball for some reason. But we put a hat on it and a scarf and gave it some eyes. Those were actually sweet gum balls. I remember that. And a stick for a mouth and the carrot. That's my mom's car at one point. You can kind of see my dad's shop back here. And this was what we called the train house. This was an old house that I have no idea how my dad acquired it. I think it belonged to somebody in the family. He had it moved to our property, and my brother loved trains, and he had his train sets set up in there on big tables. And we used it for extra storage, but we called it the train house because my brother's trains were all in there. Yeah, here we are posing with our snowman. You can't see it, but I'm crossing my eyes and making a ridiculous face. I was very fond of doing that. There's the well house again, and there's another one of our storage buildings back there. My dad he had an Indian motorcycle, and he kept it in that building in there. And here I'm quite a bit older. I was probably that's 1983, so I was 10 in this picture. And I look like I'm just over it, like I don't care. I see that look on my kids' faces. Every now and then they throw my own look right back at me. If you have kids, they'll probably do the same thing to you. But that's the same year. I guess maybe this was around the time we were opening presents or something. And here I am that same day with the tree that I would have picked out, drinking what looks like a glass of punch or something. There's my dad's recliner right there, that hideous orange recliner. I thought I had another one, but that was it. But yeah, my hair was a little bit longer there. But you're about to see a drastic change because we're going to go from this to 7th grade. Here is my class picture from 7th grade. This is me. This was right after I got my ears pierced when I was 12. Well, you can see it right there. Look at my hair. Oh my God. Everybody had perms back then. I had my perm. But this was right after I got my ears pierced, and they did not heal correctly. I had constant problems with them, bleeding, swelling, infections, and I did everything right, and they just never healed properly. So I took the earrings out, let them grow up, and gave up. But I remember this necklace. This was my mom's necklace, and she let me borrow it for picture day. I put together the outfit. I remember her saying something about it because I had this turtleneck and this shirt. And I said, I want to wear them together. She said, you can't wear those together. They don't go together. I said, yes, they do. And I put them on, and she said, I would have never thought to wear those two colors together. I don't know. I just remember that conversation. And I have a little unicorn pin on my shirt. And it's a unicorn with a heart. But I had really short hair and a perm. That was probably my first perm. I think I was in 7th grade when my mom let me get a perm. Now here I am. Boy, this is later. This is actually the 10th grade. Yeah, my hair changed slightly. And I loved this. This was actually a dress. It was a dress and I'm wearing a black turtleneck under it. And again, I had to borrow my mom's jewelry. But I remember those clip-on earrings. Yeah, I remember those earrings. But this was after I got my braces off. I don't have any pictures of me with braces. My brother and I both had them. The only reason we got to have them was because our insurance covered braces almost completely. So otherwise, I know my parents wouldn't have been able to afford it. But yeah, that was not long after I got my braces off. So, but yeah, that's me in the 10th grade. Now these pictures are small. We took a lot of road trips when I was a kid. I mean, we went all kinds of places. We went up to Canada. We went down to the border of Mexico. I got to walk across the bridge over the Rio Grande into Mexico. This was actually taken in Mexico. The only bad thing about this trip, okay, it was like a 2-week trip, and we were all together in a car for 2 weeks, and I thought we were going to kill each other. My dad quit smoking right before we went on this trip, and he was so grouchy. I love him to death, but he was so grouchy. This is a picture of us in a little horse-drawn carriage in Mexico. And that's there I am, and my brother and my mom, and I guess my dad was standing out on the street, and he took the picture of us in the little cart, the little thing there. And this is my brother and me at the Alamo. I didn't write anything on it, but we were fighting. We were actually mad at each other when this picture was taken. That's why we're standing so far apart, because I refused to stand next to him because I was mad at him. Mom told us to shut up and go stand in front of the Alamo. Just shut up and go stand over there. I'm going to take your picture and you better smile. I don't care if you do hate each other. But yeah, I refuse to get any closer to him than that. Oh boy. Now this was a page out of an album, and it had holes in it so I could bring it here. And I tried to remove it, but it's basically stuck. If I try to remove it, it's going to mess it up. This is, oh gosh, let's see. I would have been, maybe about, oh goodness. I might have been 16 in this picture. This was when my brother was in the Navy, and he was up in New York State for a while, and we went up there to see him. And while we were there, we took a trip to Canada. We went to Montreal. Was it Montreal? We went up to Canada one day, or for a couple days or something while we were up there. And it was just my mom and me. And my dad, I don't remember why, but my dad didn't go. But that's me. I still have my perm, my little tan, and this was at some lake in New York State, near where my brother was living at that time. And this was taken at the same time. You can't even really see it. This was taken, and I can't remember the name of it. It was taken in the city, I think, where Nikola Tesla either was born or lived. And I have a picture of a big statue of Nikola Tesla and my brother standing in front of it. My brother's always been a big fan of Tesla and was really tickled to go there. But I'm sitting in front of some big tree. And I know this was after we went to Canada because I'm wearing an olive green scarf that I bought while we were in Canada. Oh, here's a picture of my brother when he was a baby. And my dad's a little picture of my dad that came from somewhere, but I don't know where. That's my brother. And this was me on my birthday, and I don't remember. I think I was in the 10th or 11th grade. That might have been when I turned 16. I honestly don't remember. I could count the candles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't count them because they're in the shadows, but I think I was 16. I remember that necklace. I had that necklace when I was in high school. And I'm thinking it might have been around the time I turned 16. I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I have my hands behind my head. Does it focus that well? Oh, it does. You can see this. The house was always really cluttered and full of stuff. And I hate clutter. I'm like the anti-pack rat. The house was never dirty, but we had a very small house, and it was always full of stuff. I hated it, because I can't stand clutter. And here, this was Christmas time again. And I'm wearing my class ring. I remember I bought that class ring with my own money. I saved up to buy that class ring. And my house was broken into in 2001. And whoever broke in, they never found out who it was. They stole all my jewelry and they took my class ring. I was at work and I didn't know until I got home that day that someone had broken into my house and taken all my jewelry and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, I was heartbroken. I didn't even really care about anything but that ring. I never got it back. But yeah, I'm older here. This is like, I was probably a senior. No, maybe a junior. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm holding a bear. I guess that was something I got for Christmas or something. And I'm either really happy about it or really unhappy. Not sure what kind of face that is. But yeah, that's I'm like, what? Oh, you're going to love this one. This picture was taken at the state fair when I was about 20. And it's one of those things where you go in and they dress you up in a costume. It's like I'm in a saloon. I didn't even get any shoes. They had me take my shoes off. I'm wearing fishnet stockings and a garter. And I'm holding a fake bottle of whiskey. I love it. And they had me put on a hat. You can't see it, but my hair back then was really long. I mean, it came almost down to my waist. I mean, it was very long. I had really long hair back then. And I kept it long for quite a while, but I got tired of it, honestly. So I got it cut shorter. But yeah, that was just on a lark. My mom and I were at the fair, and we saw this little thing set up where you could go in and get your picture taken Wild West style, and I said, let's go do it. And my mom said, you can do it. I'm not doing it. So I went in and did it. I think I was about 20, maybe 21 in that picture. But yeah, that was fun. And if you lived back in the 80s, you had glamour shots. I don't care what you say. If you were a female and you lived in the 80s, don't tell me you don't have at least one glamour shot somewhere. This is one of mine. They actually took several different pictures. This one was just stuck in with some other pictures I was looking through. And in this picture, I think I was 17 when I had these made. And they were doing them at the mall, not far from where I live. Well, I say not far, like 30 miles away. And that's about how far you had to go to get to any kind of civilization. Because we live down the middle of nowhere. But yeah, that they do your makeup and your hair, and then they use the really heavy filters and make you look glamorous. But that was one of my glamour shots. Oh my God. But I had so much fun. My mom actually had them done too. I think she went the same time I did. And I wish I could find some of hers. Hers were good. And the last picture I have to show you, this was my first college graduation. I was very proud of that. That was at UNC Wilmington. And I don't know why. My mom took this picture. I don't know why she stood back so far. But this is out in front of the music building for some reason. I don't know why we were out there, but I'm holding my diploma or my degree there, and I had really long hair there, but you can't really see it. And I was in the Sigma Tau Delta English Honor Society, and I have my red tassel for that. Yeah, I was really excited. I almost got a double major in 4 years. I was 3 credit hours shy of a double major. But I was really burned out, and I needed some time off before I finished it. I had been working and going to school, and I was a research assistant as well, and I was just exhausted. I needed some time off. And then later, I worked full-time at Black & Decker for a while, and then later I went back to school and finished my second degree. But this is when I got my BA in psychology. And then I finished my degree in English later on, after I paid off some debt. I worked my way through school and had my student loan debt and paid all that off. And, well, not right away, obviously, but I needed some time to save up some money. And then when I went back to school, I didn't take out any loans. I just paid for it as I went. I paid for what I could when I could afford it. So, but I went to UNCG, and they said I had to have at least 12 credit hours to graduate from there. So I ended up having to take 3 classes instead of just 1. I said, so basically you don't have enough of my money yet. Is that what you're saying? You need to take 3 classes. That's kind of sucks. But anyway, this is my last picture. I was 21 when I graduated. It was a very happy day for me. I worked very hard to get to that point, and it was a wonderful, wonderful happy day. So thank you so much for coming to look at those. Again, you may see some of those again when I do the Draw My Life, because I can't draw. So I won't be doing much drawing. I might just be talking and showing you pictures for the most part. But anyway, thank you again for coming to see my pictures. And I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you again really soon.